Good morning, Albany leadership, and welcome back to our Black History Month live stream. I'm your host, Jada,
Alicia,
and Karma.
and today we'll be discussing literary reassistance in Black community throughout history. The Harlem Renaissance gave new expression to African American authors and led to a renewed expression of self-identity and social consciousness. At the turn of the 20th century, literary works that contained fiction as well as nonfiction by African American authors were written on how to confront racism. During the Civil Rights Movement, the focus of African American literature was on racial segregation and Black unity. Among many factors that led to the Civil Rights Movement was the rise of Black consciousness and the impact of World War II among African Americans. The desegregation of troops during World War II, ordered by President Truman, led to feelings of self-worth and self-identity. The monumental case Brown versus Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas, 1954 stated, "Separate but equal. Educational facilities are unconstitutional and ordered the desegregation of American public schools with deliberate speed." In the midst of the Civil Rights Movement were protests, sit-ins, and demonstrations to upturn segregation. Jim Crow laws were still prevalent during the 1950s and 1960s. African American writers wrote to express feelings of self-worth and the importance of African Americans in society. Many protests came about with the Civil Rights Movement and were met with painful consequences. In spite of severe consequences, African American writers continued to write about their unfair conditions for Black people in American society and the need for equality among all races. James Baldwin, a noted author of this period, stated, "It is astonishing that in this country so devoted to the individual, so many people should be afraid to speak."
Baldwin's novel Go Tell It on the Mountain was an important work during this time and discussed race and racism more than his other works. Another author, Ralph Ellison, wrote The Invisible Man, which confronted social invisibility of the Black people in America. Another noted author during this period whose works are still popular is Richard Wright. His novels include Uncle Tom's Children, Native Son, and Black Boy that spoke of the experiences of African Americans and are considered classic readings. Some are assigned as readings in schools.
African American poets also expressed their feelings of discomfort with inequality and the conflicts of the Civil Rights Movement in their poetry. Some notable poets during this time were Gwendolyn Brooks, Margaret Danner, Langston Hughes, Robert Hayden, and many others. A notable play, Raising the Sun by Lorraine Hansberry, addressed segregation housing policies during this time in history and was the first play by an African American woman to reach Broadway. Many writers, poets, and playwrights during this time wrote to generate feelings among African Americans of self-worth, self-pride, and political activism.
Reminder, tonight is senior night. Come by to support our two seniors, Jasmine Esculin and Moye Monroe, and the rest of our varsity basketball team in their game against Rensselaer tonight. Pantherettes will also be performing, so be sure to come by. Tune in tomorrow and the rest of February for more Black History Month live streams.